Hello everyone, welcome back to Inputix, and this is the video walkthrough for passage 2 from Canvas 16 test 1. So as usual, I'm going to be reading the paragraph first and then I'm going to be dealing with the questions. And I try to use English as much as possible, and if I notice there's a need for an explanation in Uzbek, I'll try to use it as well. So without further ado, let's get started. The pyramids are, yeah, the passage is about the step pyramid of Djoser. The pyramids are the most famous monuments of ancient Egypt and still hold enormous interest for people in the present day. Like a lot of people are interested in those pyramids, yeah. These big, impressive tributes to the memory of the Egyptian kings have become linked with the country. Like those big pyramids, those impressive pyramids are linked to the country and are linked to the kings of those countries, yeah? Although those countries, such as Chinese and Mayan, those cultures, yeah, Chinese and Mayan also built pyramids. The evolution of pyramid form has been written and argued about for centuries, yeah? There are a lot of debates about the building process of those pyramids. However, there is no question that as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect, the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, yeah. So, our question types are list of headings. Let's get started. The areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. We're gonna have to have information about areas and artifacts within the pyramid, a difficult task for those involved, a king who saved his people, a single certainty among other less definite facts. Well, I believe the answer for the paragraph A is going to be 4, because a single certainty among other less definite facts, it means there's one certainty. Look at this one certainty. However, there is no question that, as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to king designed by one brilliant architect. This is the single correct right information. But regarding among other less definite facts, is like has been pyramid form has been written and argued for centuries. This is the part which tells us there were some less definite facts. Some people argued about its evolution, and some said different things, some said different things. That's why less definite facts are the fact that they had been written and argued for centuries. And one single certainty among others is the fact that it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect. And let's also read the rest of the options. An overview of the external buildings and areas. Pyramid design that others copied. An idea for changing the design of burial structures. An incredible experience despite the few remains. The answers to some unexpected questions. Okay, and then we have one word only question type, and then yeah, multiple choice as well. Okay, let's continue. Djoser was the first king of third dynasty of Egypt and the first built in stone. Prior to Djoser's reign, like before Djoser started to control the country, yeah, tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay brick, which covered underground passages where the deceased person was buried. For reasons which remain unclear, we have some unclear or unfound reasons. Djoser's main official, whose name was Imhotep, conceived of building a taller, more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another, progressively making them smaller to form the shape now known as a step pyramid. Djoser is thought to have reigned for 19 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much longer time for his rule. Like like a lot of people think he has reigned the country for 19 years, but some historians and scholars say he has ruled the country for more than 19 years. Owing to means because of the number and size of the monuments he built. Okay. Uh, we have an answer for the not yet. I think the separate of Djoser. L- it's in the next paragraph. What about this one? Which of the two following points does the writer make about King Djoser? We read about the King Djoser. I think it's time to do this one as well. So initially, he had to be persuaded to build in stone rather than clay. Like there is nothing about the fact that he had to be persuaded. That's why the answer A is out. There is a disagreement concerning the length of his reign. Of course, that is the correct answer because it came from here, yeah. Let's say 25, yeah. So Djoser is actually thought to have reigned for 19 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much longer time for his rule. Therefore, there's a disagreement concerning the length of his reign. He failed to appreciate the Infado's part in the design of the pyramid, yeah. Like there's nothing about it as well. A few of his possessions were still in his tomb when archaeologists found it. No. He criticized the design and the construction of other pyramids in Egypt. We don't have answers from here yet. Maybe these, well, four answers are not out yet. Maybe we'll read in the upcoming paragraphs as well. Let's leave it for now. What about the paragraph B? Yeah, 15th question. So, there is an artifacts within the pyramid itself. There was nothing about it. A difficult task for those involved. Well, we had nothing about it as well. A king who stayed with his people, no. A single certainty among other less definite facts. Less definite facts. So it's out as well. An overview of the external buildings and areas. No, we didn't have any overview. A pyramid design that others copied. No. An idea for changing the design or the burial structures. The answer for the question 15 should be 7 because look at here. Um, Prior to Djoser's reign, tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay brick, which covered underground passages where the deceased persons was buried. Yeah. So the burial structure was rectangular, which was made of dried clay brick. And for the reasons which remain unclear, Djoser's main official, whose name was Imhotep, conceived of building a taller, yeah, he came up with an idea of building a taller and more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another, progressively making them smaller, yeah? So he changed the structure, yeah? It used to be rectangular, which was made of dried clay brick. But after his reign, like once Djoser became a king, the buildings were made smaller and more impressive and taller, you see? That's why the answer for the question 15 is going to be 7, an idea for changing the design of burial structures. Okay, we are done with this question as well. Let's continue. The step pyramid has been thoroughly examined, yeah, has been examined in detail and investigated over the last century, and it's known that the building process went through many different stages. Historian Mark van dem Osche comments on his writing much experimentation was involved, which is especially clear in the construction of the pyramid in the center of the complex. It had several plans before it became the first step pyramid in history, building 6 levels on top of one another. The weight of the enormous mass was a challenge for the builders, you see? Like putting the stones onto one another, on top of one another, was a challenge for builders who placed the stones at an inward incline, you see? Incline. That's like not putting the stones uh outside inclines, like not to the outside part, but rather to the inside part, in order to prevent the monument breaking up. Beautiful. So let's go through this one. By the way, the answer 7 is out already. So the area is an artifact within the pyramid itself? No. A difficult task for those involved, of course. it was difficult for them to build those pyramids. Yeah, it was a challenge for builders. The weight of the enormous mass was a challenge for builders. So for the question 16, we got the answer from here. We have an answer for question 21. The complex that includes the step pyramid and its surrounding is considered to be as big as an Egyptian something. Do we have an answer for this one? There's actually no mention of the Egyptian, there's no any comparison. Maybe in the next paragraph, let's see. When finally completed, the step pyramid rose 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city, in ancient Egypt and included the temple courtyard, shrines, and living quarters of the priests. It covered a region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall 10.5 meters high. The wall had 13 false doors cut into with only one true entrance cut into the southeast corner. The entire wall was then ringed by a trench. Trench is like, a hole, how do you say? It's like a hole that is dug between the entire wall, you see? Not just like a little hole that's like a person can fit, That's kind of a hole when a person can fit, yeah. So it was ringed, it was surrounded by a trench, which was 750 meters long and 40 meters wide. You see, that's actually a lot. The false doors and the trench were incorporated into the complex to discourage unwanted visitors. Unwanted visitors like those who are spies maybe, or those who are robbers. If someone wished to enter, he or she would have needed to know in advance how to find the location of the true opening in the wall. Joseph was proud of his accomplishment that he broke the tradition of having only his own name on the monument and had Imhotep's name carved on it as well. Okay, paragraph D. This one was also out. Let's clear out. Yes, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. Well, I think, yeah, that's the answer. That's actually the answer because areas, yeah. It was like, look at this one. The complex in which it was built was the site of a city in ancient Egypt and included the temple, courtyard, shrines, and living quarters for the priests. That's kind of a areas, yeah. And then it covered a region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall. The wall had 13 false doors cut into with only one true entrance and all of this. And there were also false doors. We can call them artifacts, yeah. So therefore, the answer for this one is going to be one. Mm, not one, actually, not the first one. I'm sorry. The areas and artifacts because you know we don't have any artifacts here. A king he could say with his people, no, an overview of the external buildings and areas. Yep. The answer for the question 17 is going to be 5. So that's like a pyramid, an overview of the external buildings and areas. External buildings is like the step pyramid rose 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city in ancient Egypt and included a temple, courtyard, shrines, and living quarters for the priests. That is external buildings, that's areas. And regarding the areas, it covered the region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall. Therefore, the answer for this question is gonna be 17, yeah. And that for the question 17, it's gonna be 5. And one word only. The complex that includes the step pyramid and its surroundings is considered to be as big as an Egyptian something. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city in ancient Egypt. Yeah, the answer for this one is going to be a city. The area outside the pyramid included accommodation that was occupied by, like, you gotta put a noun here. It's like people. Then those people were priests, yeah? along with many other buildings and features. A wall running around outside the complex, and a number of false entrances were built into this. In addition, a long something encircled the wall. Encircled was like that was ringed, yeah? A long trench. I told you the translation of trench a few minutes ago. As a result, any visitors who had not been invited were cleverly prevented from entering the pyramid grounds unless they knew answer or something. Let's see. The false doors and trench were incorporated into complex to discourage unwanted visitors. If someone wished to enter, he or she would have needed to know in advance how to find the location of true opening the wall. So the answer for the question 24 is going to be location. And yeah, so our questions from 21 to 24 are coming from here as well. So we are left with three paragraphs. Let's continue reading. The burial chamber of the tomb, where the king's body was laid to rest, was dug beneath the base of the pyramid, surrounded by a vast maze of long tunnels that had rooms off them to discourage robbers. So that had rooms off them, it means, how to say, they were located in such a way which can only be entered with one room. It's like um, to enter the other 13 rooms, 13 rooms, you can only enter by one room. That's the point of headrooms off them means, you know. So, one of the most mysterious discoveries found inside the pyramid was a large number of stone vessels. Over 40,000 of these vessels of various forms and shapes were discovered in storerooms of the pyramid's underground passages. The word passage is like um, a process or like a travel from one place to another in a ship, yeah? Underground passages like underground ways, yeah? They are inscribed with the names of rulers from the first and second dynasties of Egypt and made from different kinds of stone. There is no agreement among scholars and archaeologists on why the vessels were placed in the tomb of a Djoser or what they were supposed to represent. The archaeologist Jean-Philippe Laure, who excavated the most of the pyramid complex, believes they were originally stored and give a proper burial by Djoser in his pyramid to honor his predecessors. There are other historians, however, who claim the vessels were dumped into the shafts as yet another attempt to prevent grave robbers from getting to the king's burial chamber. So, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself, can we say, and like, is it that's kind of a close answer? The areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. Yep, it is the answer. The areas was actually the burial chamber where King's body was laid to rest was dug beneath the base of the pyramid. That's an area surrounded by a vast maze. Again, that's talking about area. And regarding artifacts, the main artifact was stone vessels. Like there were over 40,000 of these vessels. Yeah, that's why the answer for this one is gonna be first, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. So, what about this one? Not yet, yeah. We haven't read anything about mm, King Joser in these paragraphs. Maybe we'll have some more information. Or did I skip this one? Did a few of his possessions were still in his tomb when archaeologists found it? No, he criticized it. Not yet. So, unfortunately, all of the precautions and intricate design of the underground network didn't prevent ancient robbers from finding a way in. So there were a lot of precautions, and those strong design of the structure didn't stop ancient robbers from finding a way in. George's grave goods, and even his body were stolen at some point in the past, and all archaeologists found were a small number of his valuable overlooked by the thieves, valuables like valuable things. There was enough. and there was enough left throughout the pyramid and its complex, however, to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavated it. A king who said with his people, an overview of the external buildings and areas, a pyramid of the design that others copied. No, that's not the answer. An incredible experience despite the few remains. So the answer for this one is going to be eight, because an incredible experience. Like this was an incredible experience. There was enough left throughout the pyramid and its complex to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavated it. That's an incredible experience. And now let's find despite the few remains. So the few remains were Djoser's grave goods and even his body were stolen, yeah, in the past. So it was stolen. All archaeologists found ula topgan bitta narsa, ula topgan hamma narsa nopti, were a small number of his valuables overlooked by the thieves. O'sha o'g'rilar uncha yaxshi ko'rolmagan, uncha yaxshi ignore qilib ketgan narsalari bo'lgan ekan. O'sha few remainsga overlooked by the thieves bot bizda. I think we read about this part as well. Yeah, a few of his possessions were still in his tomb when archaeologists found it. Ko'pchiligi ani bo'lib ketgan, o'g'irlab ketirilgan va ba'zilari qolib ketgan. A few of his, yeah. Okay, last paragraph. Egyptologist Miroslav Werner writes, few monuments hold a place in human history as significant as that of the Step Pyramid in Saqqara. It can be said without exaggeration that this pyramid complex constitutes a milestone in the evolution of monumental stone architecture in Egypt and in the world as a whole. The Step Pyramid was a revolutionary advance in architecture and became the archetype which all other great pyramid builders of Egypt would follow. Uh, this part is very clear. Look at this one. The step pyramid was a revolutionary advance in architecture and became the archetype which all other great pyramid builders of Egypt would follow. So the step pyramid was the first one, like in advancing in the revolutionary point, and then the remaining the following generations copied the structure. So the king who said with his people, no, that was a pyramid design that others copied. So the answer for the question 20 is gonna be 6, yeah? So guys, we're done with the questions. So after reading, if you are still having some problems, I advise you doing this word table. I'm gonna explain it how to do it now. That's gonna be from the passage. That's gonna be from the question, yeah? Okay, let's say let's do the first one. It was the answer for a single certainty among less other definite facts. Let's say that is the answer. Okay, yeah, that is the answer. And now you're gonna look at here and that was where I found the answer. You can compare the notes, you can compare the passage, and you can compare the questions. That was question 14, yeah. 14. So the evolution of the pyramid form has been written and argued for about centuries. Uh, Less definite facts is like have been argued, yeah? Let me put this one here. Yep, this one. A single certainty among others. A single certainty was, as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect. And you're gonna continue, and for the question 15. You're going to go back to the option again. What was the answer? Paragraph B. An idea for chain design of the burial structures. You're gonna copy this one as well again. So the question was like this. Okay. And we got the answer from here, yeah? And progressively making them smaller for from here, yeah. That's it. And now it's gonna be much clearer for you to understand where the answers are coming out, yeah? Let's do one for this one as well. Not for this one. This one is easy. There's a disagreement concerning the length of his reign. Okay. Okay, so the question was like this one, the option that we got. Question 25. Djoser is thought to have reigned, yeah? So that's it. Now it's much clearer for you to understand where the answers are coming out. If you're gonna do it for about, 10 times, you're gonna see a great improvement in your reading. So guys, yeah, that was the end of our video walkthrough. Thank you for watching. See you in our next videos.